everybody, welcome to another video. I saw a video of somebody doing a viral balloon with plaster, makes a beautiful vase kind of thing. So I wanted to try it out and see for myself if it works. Okay, so let's get into the video. First, blow up your balloon. You can make it to whatever size you want, well, as far as your balloon will allow you to blow. Next, take a cup or something you have that you can pop your balloon into. To keep mine in place, I'm going to attempt using some sellotape. Do this to all the balloons that you plan to use. I just put 4 pieces of sellotape to try and help keep it in place. Now it's time to party! This, I believe, is called scrim, and it's going to help the plaster attach better and hold together. And so let's have a party with this first. I think that's all we got to do with it. Keep in mind that you're going to make a vase that will come, this will be the bottom part, the top will be the bottom part. Does that make sense to you? The top on what we're working on now will be the bottom part of your vase. So if you want your vase to end here or here, just bring your scrim to that area. Next we're going to use the plaster and hopefully everything will go smoothly. And we're just going to paste it on and leave it to dry. Hopefully we get no cracks. And then we'll do another layer and another layer if necessary. Let's try. I'm thinking my hand is the best way to start. I'm using a plaster that's already mixed together, but you can get the powder formula and mix it with water and you can make it as watery as you wish. The key is to try and keep it smooth and thin. We want to keep the layers as thin as possible. The reason for this is one, that it'll help the paste to dry quicker, and also it should prevent cracking more so than if you do one big thick layer. Now I'm just trying to cover anywhere that I can see the balloon. So anywhere you see the colour of the balloon, I'm just trying to go over that and cover it as much as possible. But it's not necessary to get every single piece because we will do a second and I believe we will also do a third coat. Okay, once that one's done, we're also going to leave that one aside. Go wash your hands and wait for those to dry. You can see here that we have some minor cracks on the inside. If this happens to you, you can rub some paste on the inside to cover them up. Okay, so finally they're done after 3 coats. You could do another coat if you want, or you know, depends on how thick you want it, but I stopped here. Right now they're kind of looking like dinosaur eggs. Looks like the egg hatched. So to tidy that up, we can use a scissors, a Stanley knife, and some sandpaper. I'm gonna paint mine and give them a little old age type look. It's just kind of what I'm into. You can paint them orange. You can do whatever you want with them. You just want to be very delicate with it because it could crack very easily on you. This is more a decorative piece rather than something functional, let's say. If you do want a functional looking vase, then go to my DIY aged vases video and I'll show you how to make some nice ones there. Okay, and then just keep smoothing them out until you feel like you've got a shape that you'll be happy with. It might not be absolutely perfect, but work with what you got. And then we'll move on to painting. Okay, so to start painting, we have to be very careful because we can't let this get too wet. So I'm going to try and use less water while I paint with this and try and give it an old age look. I'm going to use mainly browns, whites, maybe a little bit of black, and just try and shade it out until I get a look that I'm happy with. You really want to be careful with how much you wet it, or it might all just fall apart. Okay, so before adding any further paint onto this one, we're going to leave it to dry for just a little bit. The plaster really absorbs the paint as it goes on, so it makes it very difficult to spread it around. So I'm hoping after the first layer, this will become a little bit easier. You have to trust the process, don't give up, don't be scared. It'll all start to come together at the end. You're gonna see me going back and forth between the vases. I'm kind of letting them get a little bit of paint on them and then putting them aside to dry for a minute, and then we'll go back in and paint again. So we'll swap over back and forth in case anyone's getting a bit confused. So for some reason I decided to paint these a lighter color, which I then kind of regret later on and change it back to brown. So just bear with me. If the bottom of your vase is like mine and it's a little bit wobbly, what I suggest is dampen the bottom part of it on the outside and then dampen it a little bit on the inside too. But again, you don't want to over dampen it because you don't want it to begin to rip or crack on you. So once you've dampened both sides, just place your hand inside and begin to gently press down on the bottom so that the bottom of it is beginning to flatten. Then once it's dry, it's going to sit a lot easier for you. I've changed my mind on this one and this one too. I'm going to change it. I don't know why. I suppose this is kind of an okay look, but I wasn't feeling it, so we're going to try again. Okay, I've gone ahead and taken some soil. I've got some wet soil here, so we're just going to rub some of it in, and it's going to help us to get a nice older, dirtier, aged look. I'm just going to continue doing this and building it up, and just continue this process around the entire vase. You can take your cloth, wipe it back a few times, and if you want, you can also use coffee for this or hot chocolate. It'll give you different tones and colours. I'm just kind of going with what I think old age vases look like. But again, do what you want to do. There's no rules. So at this point, I'm just kind of adding the dirt and the flour and the paint and building on top of each other until I kind of get a look that I'm satisfied with. Here I'm going over the lumpy, bumpy bits with some black paint to help highlight certain areas and to bring some depth into it. And then I'm rubbing it off, and then it's taking the paint off of the bumpy part to expose it and make it look more worn and old. I decided to mix plaster and paint together and to go around the rim of all my vases just to thicken up the rims a little bit, and on some of the areas there's like exposed scrim, so this will cover all that up. I decided to give each of the vases a base. So for the smallest one, I'm cutting up a piece of toilet roll, and then for one of the other ones, I've decided to use the end of a paper cup. And here are the results of the two first vases. Okay, I feel like at this point I should just kind of throw out there that I'm no artist, I have no background in art, I'm winging it here. As you can see, I changed my mind multiple times. You'll see me do this in multiple videos. I like think I want something and then I change it to a different color and so on and so forth. So the flour helps to add a white, dusty contrast to it. You might need to add some water or some paint on there in order to help the flour stick better. Okay, I've broken my own rule. I used too much water, mainly with the paint actually, and I got big cracks on the bottom of my vase. This happened to two of the vases, and for the biggest one, I've decided, rather than try and patch it up and fix it back to the way it was, and just kind of help it a little bit to lean to one side and see how that works. And then for the other one, I'm going to patch that one up. Again, here I made a plaster and paint mixture to put around the edges. And here's the results. I actually really like how this one turned out. It's a shame that the bottom broke, so I might try and make this one again with an actual vase one day. So So for this one, I took a bottle of milk and I cut it off to make the bottom part. First we're going to paint this, and then we're going to change the colour of this because I'm not happy with it. And here are the results. Okay, so I think all in all, we can say that this does work. They're not very functional. They could be more used for display purpose only, and maybe some dried flowers or so on put into them. I would say be very careful with the amount of water you use, because I did ruin mine a little bit, but I kind of saved it. What do you think? I don't know about that really. Anyways, if I were to rate this one out of 10, I'm gonna give it a 7. I feel like 7's a little generous, but I'm gonna give it a 7. Mainly because they're not very functional, and if they get wet, they're pretty much ruined. But other than that, they can look good. I kind of picked a harder route, and maybe this method isn't great for trying to make old aged vases, but more so just to make ceramic looking vases. So thank you for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this one, and if you'd like to see me try out more viral TikTok hacks, then let me know. Bye!